Ben is sick right now, so I'll be presenting in his stead, I guess. So I actually really didn't like this reading at all. So if I come off as biased or not too knowledgeable about it, I apologize in advance. But we need to get through this. So small is powerful. It's like a co-authored article or essay by Sarewitz and Woodhouse, written in 2003. So pretty much the first half of this paper that they wrote, they talked a lot about how nanotechnology is this new emerging technology that will have this unprecedented impact on all of these different fields. So the second bullet here, technology will revolutionize the world beyond all that. They're kind of just setting background knowledge or giving more information about why should we care about reading the rest of this paper? Why should we care about how society deals with regulating and innovating at the nanoscale? So they use specifically, it's not a point on here, but something that I remember from the reading. They used a historical example, much like Hughes did throughout his chapter, about how the cotton gin, once that technology was implemented, it drastically changed society. So they're kind of relating nanotechnology to have similar, if not amplified effects. So this next bullet, or this quote from the reading, I guess you can interpret that as that when certain technologies come about, the creators don't really grasp the full scope of what that technology means. The example here, I think they're talking about Verne, Moore, and Marx about submarine technology and how they thought that would just be an insulated thing for scientific exploration of ocean depths or something. But how as we know from history that submarines were widely used throughout World War II in terms of being militarized, and how technology changes in ways that we can't necessarily foresee. Kind of relating back to the STS concepts of unintended consequences. So Woodhouse and Sarewitz, throughout the first part of their essay or paper, they really set the stage for, I guess, hyping up nanotechnology and the broader implications about why we should care about how we interpret or how we conceptually think about this topic, and also what should we really do about it. So Woodhouse and Sarewitz make a direct reference to Bill Joy's piece, Why the Future Doesn't Need Us, specifically about how Joy viewed nanotechnology, or GNR technologies, like the other group mentioned before, as kind of something that we should relinquish or regulate more strongly. So Woodhouse and Sarewitz kind of acknowledges that perspective, but then kind of counters back with another perspective from the Zyvet Corporation, which I guess is a nanotechnology company still in business today. So what you have here is you have two kind of conflicting alternatives. In terms of how we deal with academic arguments, you can look at Bill Joy's perspective of the gray goo problem's too big and too dangerous for us to pursue nanotechnology as the counter argument to developing nanotechnology, and then referencing the Zyvet Corporation would be the flip side of that coin, or the acknowledgement to that, the response to that alternative viewpoint, where this is a company that functions off of the positive benefits of nanotechnology and what can come of that. Yeah. So last slide here, we have we finally get towards halfway through the reading what Woodson or Woodhouse and Sarewitz actually think about this topic, which is kind of a breath of fresh air after all that background. So I would say given that they kind of bolster this idea that nanotechnology has all this potential to be either so beneficent or so devastating, they kind of propose their own approach of let's think about this in a more cautious way. So you can take kind of Bill Joy's piece and the way that he dealt with nanotechnology as a more practical claim to relinquish and regulate the use of GNR technologies, whereas Woodhouse and Sarewitz are approaching this topic more from like a conceptual claim about like let's rethink the scope of nanotechnology and what that means, and more importantly, let's like be more cautious with how we approach the subject. So I'm not sure like how necessary these details are, but they mention 3 like main points in terms of like how can we actually go about thinking and like doing things differently in regards to nanotechnology. They talk about like more cautious research, or like more research relating to nanotechnology, and they also talk about transparency in terms of like what the government is doing in regulating nanotechnology, and also like what I guess results from these researches as well. And then they kind of touch on like government regulation, but I'll be honest with you guys, like I kind of like read over that topic, not really getting much from it, but like it is there as well. So I don't really have much to add on that. So yeah, I guess that small is powerful in a nutshell. You guys have questions, comments, other interpretations?